What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. Big bombshell news around the sale, or should I say, lack of sale, of the Infowars website to leftist evangelists, The Onion. Well, really, The Onion's ownership. We found out a lot more about how much they probably paid, and there looks to be some shenanigans where the site, at least according to those with knowledge of the situation, the site was sold for not the largest offer, but to a company that would ensure the mockery and shutdown of the brand for all time. Turns out, at least allegedly, there were bidders who had much larger amounts, and the judge allegedly picked somebody that he thought would humiliate Alex as opposed to who would bring the most money. This is obviously a pretty big deal, and we've got some, this situation is wild. And before we get into that, huge shout out to this video's sponsor, PDS. Look, debt is something that we all deal with at one point or another in our life. In my early 20s, I didn't know where to turn. I was opening credit cards to pay off other credit cards, and it was a huge mess. No one really wants to think about debt, but the cold, hard truth is, many will get deeper into debt during the holidays. Last year, half of American customers took on debt to pay for the holidays. Thanks, Joe Biden. Anyway, this could be you, could be me. It's never too early to start planning to get out. And my friends at PDS Debt can help you with a personalized solution. If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, PDS has solutions for you. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies, and there's no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit both accepted. And you can save more, by the way, when you're paying off your debt in a fraction of the time. Start planning today. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/quartering. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/quartering. pdsdebt.com/quartering. Now, judge has halted the sale of Infowars and is ordered to review the Onion's purchase of the website for possible, I would assume, shenanigans. This is, corruption at the highest level, right? Everything from, look, whatever you want to say about Alex, and what happened here, I think we can all agree that even if he was wrong, and even if he lost a fair trial, which many of us believe was not fair, but even if that happened, the judgment for $1.5 billion was pure insanity. That was meant to shut down the company, not to compensate the families. The families knew they would never get that money. This amount was to shut down and silence the company, not to actually get any retribution or fair payout for whatever potential inconveniences those parents had. And again, I don't blame the parents. I assume they were just, acting on advice from some lawyer who ends up basically acting on behalf of the government or the establishment, in my opinion. And they used this to try and silence Alex. On Thursday morning, it was announced that The Onion had bought Infowars at the bankruptcy auction. But later that day, the judge overseeing the bankruptcy case held an emergency hearing during which lawyers representing Jones and company affiliated with him expressed concerns about the process. The judge has ordered an evidentiary for next week to determine if the auction was even conducted fairly, which could delay the process. From what I'm told, or from what Alex said, this auction was supposed to be, public, and everyone was going to be able to allow a bid, and then they changed things at the last second. And then it was like a sealed bid, and then the person got to pick the winner of the auction, even if they weren't the highest bidder. Some people online said that The Onion paid just $200,000 for it, which makes sense because, again, all you're getting is equipment and a domain name that's worthless going forward. So I don't really, understand why they would have picked them outside of some bidder who probably wanted to buy it and keep it running. You would think that bids would be in the many millions just to keep it running, because the brand is nothing without Alex. I suppose maybe they couldn't get a guarantee that he was going to stay at the company. I don't know. We're going through the evidence. The only other bidder, allegedly, was First United American Companies, a company that is affiliated with one of Jones's product selling websites. So allegedly there was only 2 bidders, which is wild. I would bid on it. I mean, I guess, do you assume the debt? I don't know how all that works. But I mean, I feel like we could get together a GoFundMe and have the community purchase it. At the emergency hearing Thursday, a lawyer for First United American Companies took issues with the auction process, noting that no bidding round was held on Wednesday for rival parties, and that only sealed bids submitted the previous week were considered. I mean, to me, it seems like the fix is in, right? The exact amount offered by The Onion for Infowars remains unknown, but it is reported that it was lower than First United American's bid of $3.5 million. The Onion's offer was seen as a better deal because some people related to the families agreed to forego a portion of the sale proceeds to help pay off Jones's creditors. It was reported on Thursday that the Onion's purchase for Infowars received support from the families. So this judge or whoever's in charge of it picked less money in order to pick a company that would shut Infowars down. The families, those noble families, picked less money in exchange for shutting down Infowars. Here is what Alex had to say.
All right, this is the last update. I detailed all this on air today, but I learned even more tonight. It's worse than I thought, but here it is very simply for everybody. There was an auction ordered by the judge, but he wanted to have more hearings about it for the details to make sure it was all legal. The U.S. trustee assigned by the Justice Department that was in charge of it went ahead and had what he said was an auction. But then it came out that he didn't make the auction public, didn't let people have bids to go above the supposed highest bid, which means it's not a real auction. And then it turns out he ignored the highest bid and gave it to a lower bid because they were the Democrats. And so it was a private sale masquerading as an auction that did not happen. That's what the judge said today. He said it did not go through. He's having a full evidentiary hearing next week. In the meantime, the U.S. trustee, overstepping his power, came in and closed Infowars and cut the broadcast off. So it is off the air. We're over at the Alex Jones Network at AJN Live on X and Real Alex Jones and the satellite uplinks to the radio stations, the TV stations. They're having to switch over to our new satellite. There was some problems there because it was just sneak attack. Boom. They have the auction, keep it secret Wednesday. This morning they show up at 8 a.m., say shut the building. I go on and, talk about it. Then they go order people to shut things off. I'm just saying I'm a federal trustee. Do what I say. Like the last federal trustee did in June or late May, saying shut the building with no court order. I didn't leave. I threatened to call the police. And then they had an emergency hearing thinking I would be kicked out, and the judge fired them. So this is the second federal trustee doing this wild vigilante crap. So
isn't that weird?
Everywhere announcing they bought it. The media is saying they got it. But Bloomberg and AP are going, well, now the judge said, no. He's questioning it. No, he said it didn't go through, and he's going to decide what to do. And my lawyers are like, well, they've taken this thing off the air. These employees are out on the street. And the judge said, well, as soon as we can have it, it's early next week, I'll give you a date. But yeah, this is crazy. So bring your evidence in.
So at minimum, it would seem like Alex has the opportunity at least another week to broadcast from Infowars and move his audience over, which is great. I always talk about I've been trying to move, I'm doing everything I can to move my audience over to watch stuff on my private member server, but it's going to take months to get everyone moved over. I mean, years probably, and you're only going to get a small amount of them. By the way, if you want to support our channel, you can go to thequartering.com and join. And then when you join for $8 a month, you get 3 members only videos. You get access to a members only Discord where I am in there along with Melanie Mack and Hannah Claire will be in there and Luke Rutkowski and stuff like that. You also get exclusive discounts on all sorts of other products like ammunition, 15% off ammo, 20% off Coffee Brand coffee products, and so much more. So, if you're so inclined on this wonderful Friday to support our coverage, the team is much bigger than just me. So while everybody was doing this victory dance yesterday, about the Onion buying the Alex Jones show, or his, Infowars. Turns out, at least from what I've seen, totally corrupt. The auction was apparently not public, even though it was supposed to. The buyout wasn't even with real money. The court, they told the court that the money used was Alex Jones's future earnings. The money over $1 billion he owes is basically credit. So they didn't even put real money down on the auction. The people who ran the auction did not even tell the bidders that, quote, credit could be used. The auction was pretty much fake. They gave special treatment to Democrats who wanted to buy out the assets, buy out with non-existent money, and without other bidders even knowing what's going on. I mean, this is, again, corruption at the highest order that is it's like specifically set to they just want Alex silenced. They want him gone. I'm incredibly happy that he's continuing to fight this and he's putting it all out in the open. And hopefully some of these corrupt loser judges and trustees get their, some sort of punishment for what is clearly corruption. At least if all of this is true. This is wild. Make sure you subscribe to this channel or you follow wherever you're watching. If you're watching on Rumble, I'll continue to update on the Infowars situation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.